After 3 years together, my fiancée said her ex was more interesting and left me for him. But when her ex kicked her out, she came back begging while I was already dating her sister. I, 23 male, had been dating Jessica, who was 21, for 3 years. And for a long time, I genuinely believed we were heading towards something lasting, something solid enough to build a future on. We had shared the kind of moments that leave marks on your memory. Small weekend trips, late-night drives, endless conversations about dreams, fears, and everything in between. I thought love like ours was supposed to grow stronger over time, not fall apart because someone suddenly wanted more thrill. But one evening, as we sat together in what should have been a normal moment, she dropped a sentence that tore our history in half. She told me, without hesitation or shame, that her ex was more interesting. She said it like she was ordering takeout, casual, confident, and already half checked out of the relationship she was abandoning. I didn't shout or ask why. I didn't beg her to rethink it. I simply said, okay. Maybe she expected tears or a fight or something dramatic to confirm that I still loved her. But there was something in her tone, a kind of careless certainty, that made me realize she had already left us long before she spoke those words. The next morning, she packed her bags and left to rekindle whatever she thought she had with her ex. The same guy who had cheated on her, lied to her, and treated her like she was disposable. She chose him anyway. They moved fast, posting pictures online like they were the power couple of the century. I stayed silent and focused on rebuilding myself. The pain was real, but I wasn't going to chase someone who thought excitement was more important than loyalty. During that time, I found unexpected comfort in Emily, Jessica's younger sister. It started innocently, checking in on each other, exchanging a few messages, talking about how shocking and messy the whole situation was. She supported me without judgment, listened when I needed it, and didn't treat me like I was weak for hurting. Our conversations slowly grew deeper, longer, more meaningful. And before I realized it, we connected in a way I never had with Jessica. Emily was calm where Jessica was chaotic, kind where Jessica was demanding, steady where Jessica was unstable. She didn't compare me to anyone. She didn't make me feel like I had to perform to be enough. It was natural, easy, and honest. And without intending to, something real started forming between us. 2 months after Jessica left me, everything took a turn. Late at night, at almost 11 p.m., someone knocked on my door loudly enough to wake the whole building. When I opened it, there stood Jessica, crying, disheveled, holding a half-packed bag like she had been thrown out in the middle of an argument. She was shaking, her voice breaking, and tears streaming down her face as she told me her ex had kicked her out. I let her talk. She explained how he had become aggressive, how he had gotten bored of her, and how he finally told her to get lost. She begged me to forgive her, to let her come home, to save her. She kept saying she had made a mistake choosing him over me. She cried like she expected me to open my arms and welcome her back. As Jessica stood there sobbing, waiting for me to take her back, part of me felt a quiet sadness. Not because I wanted her, but because she finally understood the value of what she had thrown away. I could see the desperation in her eyes, like she had expected me to be frozen in time, waiting for her return. She thought I was still the same person who loved her more than myself, the same person who used to put her happiness above everything. But heartbreak has a strange way of reshaping a person. It doesn't just hurt you, it teaches you. And I had learned enough to know I wasn't anyone's backup plan. She tried stepping inside my apartment, but before she could take a single step, Emily walked out of the kitchen holding 2 mugs of coffee. The moment Jessica saw her sister there, her face went pale. Her eyes widened as if reality had just slapped her. She went silent, completely frozen in the doorway. Emily didn't hide, didn't look guilty, didn't step away. She simply stood beside me and said calmly, "You made your choice." Jessica's tears turned into shock and disbelief. She kept asking how we could do this, how we could betray her, how I could replace her with her own sister. But Emily didn't back down. "You walked away from him. No one stole anything," she replied firmly. Jessica broke down even harder. She begged me to reconsider, to not ruin the family, to give her one more chance because she had nowhere else to go. But the truth was simple. She wasn't begging for love. She was begging for comfort, stability, the safety net she thought I would always be. I told her gently but clearly that I wasn't going back to a relationship where loyalty was optional, where I only mattered when her ex didn't want her. I wasn't a second choice. I wasn't a fallback. I wasn't her home after a bad storm. She had walked away from us, not the other way around. She left that night, crying so loudly the neighbors peeked out of their doors. But this time, I didn't feel broken watching her leave. I felt free. I closed the door, and Emily placed a reassuring hand on my arm. For the first time in a long while, I felt like I was standing next to someone who truly valued me. Someone who chose me without needing drama or competition. And that's how everything changed. Jessica lost both her relationship and the comfort she had taken for granted. Meanwhile, I learned what real loyalty feels like. And standing beside Emily, I realized I had finally found the peace Jessica never gave me. In the days that followed, the situation began to ripple through Jessica's family like a shockwave no one was prepared for. Emily had warned me that things might get complicated, but neither of us expected the storm that came. Jessica had gone back to her parents' house after leaving my doorstep, and from what Emily told me later, she arrived there in the same broken, crying state she had shown me. Her story, of course, came out wrapped in her own version of events, framing herself as the abandoned one, the betrayed one, the victim of a harsh decision and heartless timing. She told her parents that she had made a mistake leaving me, that she regretted everything, and that I had replaced her with Emily without giving her a chance. Emily tried to explain the truth, but Jessica wasn't ready to let the truth breathe. She needed sympathy, and they gave it to her, not knowing the full picture. But something strange happened. Even though Jessica's parents initially reacted with shock and anger, within a few days, her mother reached out to me privately. She didn't shout. She didn't accuse. She simply asked if everything Jessica had said was true. And for the first time, I found myself calmly telling an adult what their daughter had done, without any bitterness in my voice. I explained the breakup. I explained her choice to leave. I explained the night she returned after being kicked out. And I explained how Emily and I had formed a bond naturally, without secret intentions or betrayal. Her mother listened in silence, and by the time I finished, her tone softened. She apologized, not for Jessica, but for the hurt that the situation had caused both Emily and me. It was strange how honesty could shift the weight off my chest in ways I didn't expect. Meanwhile, Jessica kept trying to contact me. She sent long messages, voice notes full of tears, apologies that came from a place of devastation rather than growth. She talked about her ex like he had ruined her life all over again. She said she had nowhere stable to go, that she missed me, that she wanted the future we had once planned. But every message felt like a reminder that I had been nothing but a safety net for her. A place she wanted because she had nowhere else. I didn't block her. I didn't cuss her out. I simply didn't reply. And the silence, more than anything, was what drove her deeper into desperation. Sometimes, silence says more than anger ever could. While all this was happening, my relationship with Emily grew stronger, steadier, and more grounded. She knew the situation was messy, but she also knew I wasn't choosing her out of pain or revenge. We spent quiet evenings together, cooking, talking, healing. She opened parts of herself I never knew existed behind the shadow of the louder sister who had always taken the spotlight. Emily wasn't flashy, but she was sincere. She wasn't perfect, but she was honest. She didn't demand attention. She earned it through her presence, through the calm she brought into every moment we shared. And somewhere along those nights, I realized that what I had with Emily felt real in a way I didn't have to force or protect constantly. There was one afternoon, a few weeks later, when Jessica showed up outside my apartment again. Not crying this time, but empty, exhausted, like life had drained everything out of her. She didn't even knock. She just stood at the bottom of the staircase, looking up at me with eyes that no longer carried anger, only defeat. She asked me if I could just talk to her, just 5 minutes, just a moment to explain herself. I walked down, not out of love, but out of respect for what we once had. She didn't try to plead this time. She didn't blame anyone. She simply said that she had realized she didn't know the value of stability until she had lost it. She admitted that excitement had blinded her, that she confused chaos with passion, and that she had taken our calm life for granted. It was the first time she spoke without trying to manipulate the outcome. I listened, but I didn't soften. Some doors, once closed, shouldn't be reopened, no matter how familiar the hallway behind them is. I told her I forgave her, but forgiveness didn't mean I owed her another chance. I told her she deserved to rebuild her life, but not with me. And I told her that Emily wasn't a replacement. She was a separate story entirely, one that deserved its own chapter without being overshadowed by the past. Jessica silently nodded, tears forming again. But this time they weren't dramatic. They were quiet, tired tears of someone realizing the consequences of their own choices. She walked away slowly that day, not in anger, not in heartbreak, but in acceptance. And for the first time since everything began, I felt like the past had finally stopped chasing me.